Very good. Welcome everyone to this last satsang for this year. It's going to be a bit different today. We will have a shorter satsang, and then we will have a little ceremony together, a little fire ceremony, and then if you have brought something, if you've gotten my email, or we have brought some small fika, so we can just enjoy and hang out after. That's the plan. And say hi to Avinasha and Ulle, who's on the stream with us. Very good. And for you who have not been here, this microphone is so that people on stream can hear if you ask a question or want to say something to me. Very good. Let's start as usual by closing your eyes, find a comfortable position. Just be aware of this moment, how the body feels, what is coming in this moment. Even if there is thoughts, just recognize that there is thinking. It's fine. Just allow whatever comes in this moment. When you do that, you shift your focus. You shift your focus from the complete identification of thoughts and body that most people live in to this perspective of observing. At first, this might seem like a small thing, but this is the beginning of a great shift. This is approaching your life and consciousness completely new. So leave behind everything that you heard about meditation, that you have done before, and just commit to being here with this moment. See what it is. If you can catch this little seed that I'm planting right now in you, then you don't need to go through so many rigorous practices. You can just come here, staying with what is. It's the most beautiful practice. And whatever comes in your field of consciousness, maybe the expressions of the body, emotional content, maybe the body is comfortable, maybe it's uncomfortable. You're just aware of it. You allow it completely. Your habits might say that you want to push this kind of feeling away. You want to think about something nice. You want to escape. But in this moment, see if you can just invite it. Just allow the expression of the body to be. And all the time as you stay here, you're completely alert. The mind wants to draw you in, wants you to join in with thoughts, thought patterns. But you stay. You stay as awareness itself. Stay as attention, alertness, witness. Later you can go back to whatever patterns and behaviors you have, but for this moment, just try this. See what happens if you come here. To just stay as beingness. There's not really a doing that is happening here. This is just the recognition of this alertness in you. It's not really a thing that you do. It's more something that you can recognize is there. And the more you stay with this alertness, you will notice that you can relax into it. In the beginning, it feels like an effort. It feels like doing. But that is just because the mind loves to be distracted. It just wants to escape this moment. So at first it feels almost counterintuitive because so much of your automatic behavior and your habits go elsewhere. But this, coming back to this alertness, to this awareness, this is the medicine of the mind. This is the unfolding of being. How you can stay with the present moment determines the quality of your life. We often think about life quality in external things, but this quality is the biggest factor in anyone's life. And this same awareness and acceptance that's applied to the expressions of the body is also applied to the thinking mind. It might have never occurred to you that the thoughts that you are thinking are something that can be observed. It's just another phenomenon. Most people are so identified with their inner voice that they always take it as fact. But it's actually just an expression of consciousness, another thing coming, staying for a while, and gone. And the space that this alertness creates is your first taste of freedom. When your thoughts and your emotions are not that sticky anymore, they're just appearances in consciousness. If you get lost in thoughts, come back to recognizing that there is thinking. Every time you do, you break the pattern of the habitual mind. You break the old habits and create space. And perhaps your mind goes quiet in this moment. You can feel like there's a part of you trying to find thoughts even. Try to desperately create something. These are the old habits of the mind. Constantly grabbing thoughts, making it into something, creating identity out of them, and this constant continuation of thought. When you break it, that part can be a bit disoriented. Just allow the space to be. You don't need thought to be. You can slowly open your eyes, move your body, stretch out your legs if you need to. Everyone wants to be present in the moment. That is the longing of everyone. They might say it with other words. And all effort from every person is towards that. It is strange in a way. You see people chasing material things or doing the same thing over and over, like they're stuck in a loop in their lives. But all that they're longing for is being present here, with themselves, fully in full acceptance. And if you hear these words, the teachings of non-duality from any teacher, and they resonate with you, they hit you in a way that you feel, oh, this is real. This is true. This is a beautiful thing, because it starts a journey that is no longer tethered to the external. Now the interest starts to be to go inside. You start to see the gifts of it. And the more you look, the more you will see the permanent nature of everything. What we might call awareness. Like a background to everything. And every time you recognize your old habits and you're aware of the movements of the mind, when you get triggered emotionally, but you instead of just going into the reaction fully, you start to be aware that it's happening. This is a big shift. In the moment, it might not feel like much. At first, it might not feel like much. But after a while, you will notice that the mind transforms from it. The things you used to fear start to dissipate, start to go away. And with that comes the natural sense of being here. Because if you have tried it, being in the present moment seems, for the one with a distracted mind, very, very difficult. If you just try to stay here, in any capacity, you will notice that the mind jumps from one thing to the other, and might even, if the mind becomes a bit silent, after a while it just starts to completely rebel. It just wants to push every button. It tries to get you to not be just here, because the habits of the mind wants to continue. I'm careful sometimes using the word ego, because ego sounds like a living entity, but it's actually just our habits of identification. It's not a real thing. It's not your adversary. It's not your enemy. It's not something that you have to destroy, because it is just your habits and it's not real. And I explain all this for you to understand why it's sometimes very difficult to just sit. And you might even say, I have a strong will, I can sit. Yes, you can force yourself to be in one place for a long time, but the mind is still jumping. it gets so frustrated, it gets so distracted, it wants to get away. I'm also telling you this because some people think that when they sit in meditation, it should also only be smooth sailing, always. So nice and peaceful, the whole idea of what meditation is. But meditation at its core is to confront what is. And when you are identified and all your old habits are there, it becomes a lot to confront. In the beginning, meditation is difficult. The good news is, the more you go at it, the easier it gets. There comes sections that feels like smooth sailing. And they're often, after a while, met by really rough seas, storms and waves, because that gives space to the mind so that old habits can come up, old tendencies. In my tradition, we call them vasanas. These old, deep tendencies, the subconscious that has been pushed down. They come up, and again, if you meet them with awareness and you allow them, they can be expressed, and the next time the storm comes, it's not that much. If the habits are deep, they can come many times. Meet them again and again. But every time, if you're aware with them and don't get triggered by them, they weaken. This is what, after a while, gives a silent mind. When all these things start to leave you, at first, you might not say, I didn't think much of it. But after a while, you notice that your mind is calmer, that there is more gaps, that you are more peaceful. Or as one woman said, that her family became much nicer. Because when you're at peace, at first at least, you don't recognize that peace. You say the world is more peaceful. Because that is also how you perceive your reality. You perceive it through your identity, or what you take yourself to be. And the less you're identified with thoughts, the more spacious it feels. The easier it is to listen to other people, to have empathy for other people. And I don't mean empathy like an idea of empathy that is the most common empathy. I mean feeling them in the moment, seeing them as they are. And you will notice that so much drama subsides, so much conflict subsides, because you are not invested in it. You don't care about it in that sense. You're not addicted to it. I had no idea how much space there could be in the experience. When I first started, I had no idea. I had no idea that the mind could be silent for long periods of time, and a sense of bliss would just come to you naturally, and that it would be obvious that you are the source of the love that you seek from the outside. These things to me felt like magic, impossible. And there is so much the reality of what is. We just need to look. We need to dare to go beyond our own little safe bubble because that is what it is. Most of us has created a little world that we like. We like to keep it intact. We don't want anything to break in that world. We just want to keep it. Perhaps polish it a little bit. There are some edges that need to be improved. But otherwise, this world should stay intact. That's what most people feel. And the scary thing when you start to look at what is that you start to notice that it's not a little world. It is completely open. And at some point, this will scare the shit out of you. Most people will find that. It will scare them. It will feel like it's too much space. And even if they would sense that space as love, they would say, there's too much love. I cannot deal with it. There's too much also of the nice things. And the scary thing can be that you can also feel like, am I worthy of this? Can I take it in? If I feel this spaciousness, I feel this empathy and love for others and for myself in abundance, can I accept that? Can I be with that? Or will I go into my old habits of self-sabotage? Which so many people do. So this search, if you want to call it that, is beautiful in so many ways. But as you know, if you have listened to me before, you know that I am very transparent. I try to be very honest with you, what it is. And I'm not saying it's just going to be smooth sailing. And that's also why we have this context. So you can come, you can see that there are others that are on the same journey, that might ask questions that's similar or exactly your struggle. It's a beautiful thing. And it's very, very helpful. It's also very helpful to just be able to ask your questions if you ever feel stuck. And often there's not much that is needed. And you can sense, I think I'm on the right path, but I just need a confirmation of that. That can be it. Or if I'm stuck, why am I stuck? Because when you're only with yourself and on your own practicing, which I did in the beginning a lot, it's so easy to get stuck. You will need some guidance, for sure. Very good. Any questions today?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I feel sort of really naked at the moment. My defenses are sort of like all of these unconscious defenses against like the present moment are sort of like just not really working anymore. And like everything is just kind of going straight in. And it's like it's sort of, at the same time I feel like all my sort of old patterns of like avoidance and coping things, I just can't do them anymore. I just can't go and drink beers or whatever. I just can't do it anymore. It's like it's gone. And I just feel like at the moment like a bit like a bit overwhelmed by everything. Like I've been feeling My job has been a bit stressful at the moment, and I think the way I would have dealt with that in the past is having some kind of like defense to this, or some kind of way of like sort of, being aggressive against what's happening and not really allowing it to happen, and then using my escape mechanisms then to sort of deal with this. And obviously it just prolongs everything, and you have to feel it at some point and things like that. And I do notice things tend to kind of pass through me much more quickly now. But just at the moment, I just feel like, like it's like too much. Like I'm sort of in this very hot sun, and there's no shade. There's no escape. I can't go back now. It's like, God, this hole I sort of climbed out of has just disappeared.
This skinless state, as I usually call it, you feel super exposed, and you feel super sensitive to everything, because you have got rid of your defenses that numbed you. So now you're being exposed as the sensitivity that is naturally in you. And for most people, that is the whole, when they started to feel that at some point, perhaps in childhood, they started to create some kind of defense for it because it was too much. But that is also very natural, this side of it. It has been created at some point. It had its purpose growing up, like the ego has to be formed. And then at some point, you start to feel like it's a burden much more. It's a numbness. You want to live your life. You don't want to be in this trance of thoughts anymore, and trance of emotions, and just going through motions in your life. You want to live it. You want to be here. And this is the part of what created that at first. But this openness makes it possible for you also to recognize what is really going on. It's a very honest state. It's like, okay, this is stress. This is how I just dealt with before. I'm not interested in those mechanics anymore. I just want to feel what it feels like. And it becomes much more head-on, everything. In that, it can become also very easily overwhelming and emotional. So just see to it also that you have a vent, that you can cry. You just allow whatever is needed in that, so you can release that tension, because it's going to build tension very quickly, but you will also be able to, since you're in contact with your emotions now, you can release it very quickly. So the emotions become much more childlike. And with that I mean they can just switch from one emotion to another. And it can feel very heavy in certain moments, but also the release is very much quicker in this state. So it is just much more transient. The transient nature of everything is much more apparent. And you will just get used to it. It is brutal in that way, because it's not very comforting, because you can feel like it's just too much at first. But after a while you will get more used to it, and you won't get so triggered by the things that come, because all the time now you can stay as awareness with them. You know, this is the state of honesty. This is an emotionally honest state. So you will really see what is going on. How you receive stress, how you cope with it, what it is, how it moves in your body, all the pressure of things. So just be with it and see to it that you have an outlet, that you can have the release of tears if it gets too much, and as much as possible in your everyday life, that you take time to stay by yourself and to recuperate when you feel it's too much. You'll get used to it. It becomes normal, and in that it will not be that overwhelming anymore. You will still be with that very sensitive part of it, but it won't take you over like it does now. it won't be such. It feels very stormy. It feels like every emotion is so big in it. Those things will just feel much more normal and not so personal. Very good. I'm very happy to hear.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question, Richard, as well, because I can relate quite a lot with it as well. But I experience quite a lot of confusion with it as well. So super overwhelmed and yes, also then super confused and then feeling like I'm not able to handle the intensity of it. Then you said, how will this like process of it not being so personal, I guess, like the intensity of the emotions, and then also maybe something how to deal with the confusion.
Yes,
so, yeah.
The emotions of it on one level is exactly the same throughout. The experience of that emotion, but what you take it to be changes. That is the big difference to it. And when it doesn't feel personal at all, it's no problem. It is a nothing feeling, even if it appears. It can show itself, it can have its expression, but it means nothing to you. It doesn't mean that you're in a panic or that you're going into something, because all those ideas of where it's heading is always in time. So there has to be a belief about yourself to continue. And what was the other thing that you said?
Or like just general confusion.
General confusion. Yes. And I think that comes with the state of just when you feel skinless and it feels very overwhelming, it is not easy to find your way out of that. It just feels that there's so much going on. So it feels like your mind is full in a way of things. And that is always confusing. And it's just the numbness confusion that most people are in. They're in like a trance of their thoughts, and there's just thought upon thought upon thought about themselves, usually 90%, I would say, that just continues. That state is also very confused, but the adult story of the mind can say, I know exactly where I'm going. And that's complete ignorance in that. So when that breaks up and it comes into this much more direct experience, much more honest, emotional, it's still overwhelming, but at least it is honest. It is what is happening. What you're feeling is the experience that is going on. And the difficult with that mind that can tell stories about everything, it can say, oh, that's not a big deal, but it is a huge deal for you, and you gloss things over and things like this. This is very common with the mind. So this direct experience of emotions can be overwhelming and confusing. It is in its nature when you lower your defenses that it feels like that. But you will, in time, react less to it. If you are aware of those emotions, they will be less prominent. They can still be experienced, as I said, but they won't get you off balance. And the confusion is also when you're off balance, when you believe in, there has to be a belief in something. You have to be invested in something of it. So also, if you're with that emotion that you're invested in, there is a possibility of clarity in that you can be aware why it takes you time and time again. And usually we don't see it. That's why we come into a cloud of confusion. We're ignorant of it. We don't see it, what it takes us. So the moment you start to see it, you will probably be, aha, this is what I do. And usually our internal experience is so normalized by us. And if you've experienced it many times, you just like, that's just how things work. And at a certain point, you will see like, okay, but this is something I believe in again and again. Yes. Did I answer your?
Yeah, I think.
Yes.
Still confused in general, so a bit hard to.
Too hard to assess.
But yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mm. I just want to say one thing about also the states that we experience. It's so easy to also create another layer of identity. Like you're talking now, you say, as it often happens that I feel confused. And then confused becomes like a part, and you have it in your story. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Confusion can happen, but you are not confused.
Okay. I've had some repressed emotions coming up lately. When I'm with my family, very close people in my life. And there has been sort of this tension for me to, because what's been so important for me lately is to always tell the truth. And so it's sort of a difficult for me to when I feel like I have to speak my truth and be honest. But I also feel like I need also to say what I think the other person can hear, so to speak. And so in a way I want to be transparent about what I'm going through, and that it's not related to them, but and so on. But I noticed that when I tell the truth, it can also be quite triggering, naturally. And so I don't know what the right balance is to sometimes not say anything, but they notice that there is something going on.
Yes.
Or I tell the truth, and so I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. That's
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good to know why you want to tell the truth, because truth in the subjective sense can mean so many things. If you come from anger, you can be like, I'm going to tell the truth about you. You can really get someone with that. So, and also very, very commonly is that you want people to understand you. You want to be understood. And I have bad news for you on that front. They usually won't. So the most important part of the truth part is the internal part of it. To be truthful inside. And also with both these testaments of what the practice does, with both Richard and Johan, that it is just to emotional truthfulness. But this is truthfulness when it comes to actions and words. And there you have to be internally truthful, but not everyone will understand you. And having the idea that explanation of your truth somehow and how you assess it will be beneficial to everyone. And that also, if you dive deeper to a much more a truth about beingness, the general public will be very provoked by that. Most people won't like that at all. They would just say it's nonsense, because there has to be an openness towards that to be able to meet it. So the thing to look at when it comes to this is, what do you want from it? Because usually it is, I want to be loved and understood. I want to be on the same playing field as everyone.
Yeah, I think the biggest reason is exactly what you said. I want to be understood. But it's also the feeling that I a bit like Richard said, that I feel like I can't continue to pretend in this case.
Yes.
I feel like I just can't smile and nod and whatever the cover up, the mask I'm wearing is.
Yes. So
And,
you have to find your way in that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will be just to stay silent when there is no point in doing something else. And perhaps you don't smile to the things that you don't find agreeable anymore.
Mm.
And people will find you a bit more difficult and stubborn in ways. That's just fine. But the agreeable side of you won't like that. That is what you will have to meet in that. It's not a problem to be not interested in things. But the problem for most people is that they want to be liked and therefore want to be interested in everything.
Yeah.
Say that what everybody says is so interesting, and so when they find it to be complete horseshit or uninteresting. So the challenge is not with people on the outside, because, as you said, you have noticed that it's a lose-lose situation. You will always lose, however you do it, because it has nothing. You cannot. The win that you want is the problem. You are love, my friend. They don't need to tell you or accept you in that way from the outside. And the more you're comfortable with that, the easier it will be for them to love you. Because now you're saying with other words, please love me. Please accept me. Please meet me as I am. And that feels like a demand on them, and that will trigger people. You tell them you're not enough. It's so subtle. It's much more subtle than how most people talk. But the most beautiful thing we can give is the acceptance of being. And I'm not saying that as a philosophical idea. I mean that in practice. If you are with someone and you fully allow them to be all their brokenness, all their desperation, all their strangeness, whatever it can be, they will say, oh, it's so nice to just be here with you. Because everyone is longing for that same beingness. And as soon as we point out something that can be very subtle, that they are not enough, they will resist. They will feel attacked. And that is what I meant also when sometimes people ask me about my relationship with my teacher, with my guru. And I said, the most beautiful thing of sitting next to him is that I knew that he wants nothing from me. There's nothing to gain from a conversation with me. There's no prodding, there's no trying, there's no please accept me. There's nothing of that. And that's such a beautiful gift. And most people know so little about it. You're discovering through your spiritual practice that, oh, this is what it is. And it's difficult because you can You can feel so soft and so kind in all ways, and there can still be this lingering longing to be accepted behind it all.
Thank you. And since it's the last satsang, I also want to say thank you for all the beautiful answers throughout the year. It's such a gift, really. Such a gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have time for one more. Okay, very good. I thought we could do a little fire ceremony. It is just a very simple thing. It's just a simple ceremony of surrender. Of just letting go of the things that you don't need anymore. And since surrendering is a very subtle thing, it can be nice to do a ceremony sometimes with it. If you're stuck on something, if you feel something it's perhaps already starting to be lifted, if it's going, you can just, in this ceremony, allow the full release of it. So. So, if it would have been summer and we would have been outside, we would have a small campfire, but now we're indoors, so we just have this. So, do you have your thing you want to let go of? And give you a moment to. If nothing comes up, that's beautiful also. So we chant 3 long Oms together. Om. Om Triambakam Yamahe Sukandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Va Bandhanat Mritror Mokshyam Amritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And you let go of your thing. And in that letting go, you invite space, the stillness itself. The spaciousness of everything. And it's much more just an allowing of the movement of surrender. Om Triambakam Yamahe Sukandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mritror Mokshyam Amritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May you all find the natural peace of this moment. May your search be swift and the openness in your heart great. Allow the openness to be so great so that everything lands in gratefulness. Even the harsh parts, even the difficulties, the challenges, they all bring their part. The universe conspires to set you free. You just have to listen. Richard, will you bring your guitar?
Yeah.
Can play something?
Yeah.
Maybe you have to share a little today. Thought we could do some Shiva mantra. Shiva is like the symbol of surrender. Usually say Shiva is connected to destruction, because there are three parts of all phenomena. It is that they are created, they stay for a while, and they're destroyed. They go. Okay? Everyone got? No? Someone was happy for an extra. And in surrender, it's very much the Shiva quality. Very good. So, I think the Nataraja. Nataraja, Nataraja, Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, 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 Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Nataraja, Nataraja, Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, 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 Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Nataraja, Nataraja, Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, 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 Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Nataraja, Nataraja, Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, 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 Jai Shiva Shankara Nataraja, Shiva Om, Shiva Om, Shiva Shiva Om, Shiva Om. In the openness of beingness, there is a natural movement of Shiva, a natural surrender, naturally giving up. Because you held this puzzle of identity for too long. It has become stagnant and tired. It's time to let go. Thank you for your presence, for your sincerity, for your questions. For your love to stay with this challenge that you might call meditation. To the discovery into what you are. Thank you, thank you.